There we go, guys. And if you are joining us this morning, thank you very much for joining. You are indeed joining the weekly recap show, and obviously, it is a bit strange for us to do it on a Sunday morning. There's been a couple of things that's been happening that's hampered us to do some of these shows over the last week or so. Obviously, everybody is aware of the update that went a little bit astray and that caused some server issues, and then we had the long weekend, and then we had some internet issues. So all fun and games, but we're back here, and hopefully this will be the last week that's a little bit disrupted, and then from next week we are back to normal. Although today, not so much normal. It's a bit of a thin crowd this morning. I have one person joining me, and that is Slash. What's up?
Yeah, very thin this morning. All good, Yaku. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, no. Well, it feels like a long time. In reality, it's only been a week, right? We've not done a recap show last week again, because of the server updates and also obviously the long weekend, and we took a bit of time off. But in the Battlefield world, I guess 1 week makes a hell of a difference, right?
No, for sure. I think it's all these holidays and everything in between that makes it seem this way. So yeah, but we're missing the Rebel, so it's going to be an interesting morning.
Yeah, the Rebel is doing a bit of automotive development, is he?
Something like that. I hope that car runs after this. So yeah.
Yeah, I know. Scotty's sorting out some automotive issues this morning on this lovely Sunday morning. So good luck to him, and we'll see him in the week again. There is an upcoming stream this week as well, so hopefully we'll be on the stream. But Slash, you won't be joining us for the stream this week, and potentially also not next week. Things also in the work life environment picking up on your side, so you're going to be missing us for a week or three or something. You're traveling a bit as well.
Yeah, I'm running around a bit through South Africa. This is the time of the year that we're doing some road shows, so we're moving through the regions in SA.
Well, great. But I'll
watch you guys online.
Well, you should post if you're in different towns at different places. Hook up with some Battlefield peeps or something. Have a beer. Or Battlefield it out in real life. I don't know.
Yeah, I think the concept might be good, but yourself, when you travel for work, even time at night is slim pickings because you entertain people and.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I might hook up if it's possible with some guys. It would be good.
Absolutely. But yeah, we're planning to do that stream this week. Obviously, we still, the service issue has still not been, completely fixed. So there's still a bit of an issue. But from what I understand, the guys are getting it done. So, thank you very much for the guys who are pushing ahead, and even with the server issues, sorting out their games and, getting it done and that sort of stuff. But Slash, you said this morning when we had a discussion that it's still not 100% right.
Yeah, it's a pity that the guys can't sort out this bug. It's obviously an issue where you've got anybody who can spawn into the game because there's no password set up that can create some havoc. And the fix is basically that each time can have a member, or each team can have a member inside the game to kick randoms out so the game can flow normally. And appreciated that the guys have stepped up to allow that and that the game can continue.
Yeah, look, obviously it's a workaround at the moment. Having that call it server admin in the server all the time, making sure that there can be those kicks of the randoms that potentially join the servers and that sort of thing. And then hopefully, I did see a post earlier this week that they are looking at rectifying the issue. Now, of course, knowing DICE, when they say we will rectify the issue, that could mean, next month. I don't know. But at the moment, obviously, the workaround is working for the guys. The games are going ahead and they're flowing. But, like Slash said, we appreciate the little bit of extra effort in getting those randoms sorted whenever they spawn into the server. I must be honest, I've watched a couple of games and it doesn't, if you recall Slash, pre-season 1 when we tried something with the server passwords when they were just loaded, we had a lot of randoms spawn into the servers, and it seems that that's also a little bit less, less randoms coming in. But if they do come in, obviously the workaround is there.
Yeah, definitely there's not a lot of these guys. I mean, pre-season when those kind of things were tested as well, it was a lot of randoms from other regions, so not from SA that obviously spawned in.
Yeah.
And it is less disruptive. But I've heard that there were some guys that had to be kicked out of some of these games to make it happen.
Yeah. Then, so I mean, that's still an issue that we're facing at the moment. Again, hopefully DICE will come to the party soon and rectify those issues, and then we won't have that. But the war goes on, right? So nothing stops us. Nothing stops us from making war. So that's all good. That's all good. Then, guys, on a side note, again, thank you very much if you have joined us this morning for the weekly recap show. Again, we're doing it on a Sunday because of the update issues and the long weekend and that sort of thing, and we'll be hopefully back to our normal slot next week. If you are joining us and you are subscribed to the channel, thank you very much for that. If you are not, please hit the subscribe button. Also hit the little bell to get your notifications whenever we go online. It does help us to promote both the channel and what we are trying to do for the community. And speaking about what we're trying to do for the community, we had a bit of a crowdfunding exercise about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, around the upgrade of the Battlefield Clan Wars website. So that is bfclanwars.net. And I must say, I am fairly impressed with the response that we got. And from our side, I know Scully would probably do it again at some point in the future, but I do want to thank everyone that came on board and really helped us out with this crowdfunding exercise on upgrading the website. I think the response was absolutely great, and it was nice to see that people understand that these things, it's not only admin and work and that sort of things, but if you want to get better at it, then, sometimes there's a bit of a financial implication as well. But obviously the community came, in force, and we got sorted out within, I think it was 2 days or 3 days. We had the necessary to be able to do that. And that is actually in progress at the moment. And you would have seen this week that the back end of the website has undergone the update, so that update is completed, and Scully would have given some people access rights to the back end as well. Now, that access rights can do a lot of things. At the moment, the access rights are for updating your player lists. You would have seen on Discord and some communication on Facebook that we are in a transfer window for the next week and a little bit. I think it closes next week, I think either Wednesday or Thursday. And at the moment, teams or players can be updated, by the individuals directly on the website, so players can be managed and that sort of thing. Now, important to note is that access for the people that can update their players won't be active all the time. They will be active during a transfer window like what we're in at the moment, and of course that access will be closed down when it's outside of a transfer window. But it just does help to be able to do some of these things yourself, right? Otherwise the guys always have to depend on us to be able to do it, and if a bus runs me over, then something doesn't happen or whatever may be the case. So I do think it's a great initiative to be able to give more access to the community, and in terms of controlling players and teams and that sort of thing. And as we go along, that access will be opened up more and more to the point where teams can start choosing their own sort of color schemes for the website, things like, for example, changing their own logos, that sort of thing. And then we've also opened a new functionality which we will most probably not use right now, because it does require a little bit of work on everyone's side, the guys who are updating, and that is the player profiles. So basically player profiles allows you to call it highlight individual players in your teams, perhaps guys with the best KD, or or a good player in all around, or something that a player has done that's special, or whatever may be the case. That functionality will not be updated by us. It will be a functionality that will be used by the individual teams and the guys who update the website. But that functionality is also done. And then you would have seen one or two changes regarding the team pages as well, which has also been updated in the back end. Now, there is a massive front-end update due as well, and that is a very cosmetic change in terms of how the website will look and operate. And also, there will be some new additional functionality on the front end for people to use as well. So overall, it was a great exercise. Like I said, I was just fairly impressed with the amount of response that we got. Slash, I don't know what your view is there.
Yeah, I think everybody got together and jumped in and helped. I think what we can do now on the back end and how the front end is going to look is going to be fantastic, and it's all thanks to the community, stepping up and helping out. And I think from an admin perspective as well, what we can give to the guys who knows their players, for instance, as a start, would help tremendously in loading these guys and then closing the transfer window after that.
Yep. I mean, at the moment, look, just maybe to also, provide, call it background for the guys who are wondering about things like this. When we started this whole thing, call it a year and a half ago, there was very little that was available to us to be able to give to the community to say, this is something, a platform that we can build on and, build out and that sort of thing. And, looking at the future, I mean, E3 is coming up in June. I think that's the 12th to the 14th of June. And I suspect that is where the new Battlefield will be announced. So, I mean, that's pretty much around the corner. It's like a month away. So, building on what we have at the moment for Battlefield 1 out towards what the new Battlefield may or may not look like, we also have to build it in a way that makes it flexible enough that when we go to a new game title, the same sort of functionality will be available, because, I mean, we are not planning to stop. We are planning to, continue what we are trying to do into the new Battlefield title. So it has to be a little bit flexible as well, and that is also partly what the website upgrade was about, was to try and make it a little bit more flexible, not only for the players and for the community and for from an admin side of things, but also looking towards the future and looking to what the next Battlefield may or may not look like, right? Yep.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and it definitely seems like all the tabloids are saying that will be the point of the discussion to say what's going to happen with the new Battlefield coming out. So I'm really excited to see what they're gonna throw at us.
Yeah, and look, I mean, as we've said before on many occasions, I mean, it depends on the readiness of the game. Whether we would have a season 3 on Battlefield 1, or whether we'd be effectively starting a season 1 on the new Battlefield title. It really does depend, guys, on how ready the game is to be competitive. If you recall, both with the launch of Battlefield 4 as well as the launch of Battlefield 1, right in the beginning, the servers weren't quite ready. The gameplay wasn't quite ready. The balancing wasn't, really there yet. So, with Battlefield games, sometimes they take a month or two or three updates to get to the point where it can really be in a competitive state. But in knowing dice, sometimes they come and they surprise you quite heavily. So if it happens that the game is battle ready, yes, that's a nice word. I'm going to use that and coin it. For sure. If the game is battle ready on launch, then obviously we will continue. We will bring it in as fast as we can. Into the competitive scene and into what we're trying to do with BF Clan Wars, with Clan Wars specifically and under the brand. But for now, it's talks. Let's see what happens. We'll see what happens at E3. I think that is what we can expect. I really do hope so, because I'm starting to itch to know a little bit more and to understand what that may or may not look like. So moving on, then. Slash, you had an interesting conversation. I saw both on Discord as well as on one of the Clan Wars WhatsApp groups about how the guys are finding Rush. And then I saw a great post on Facebook this morning as well, where a couple of guys have some opinions about Rush and whether it's a good game mode or a bad game mode. And maybe you want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, obviously it came from one of the community members who posted something on Facebook, and out of that there was a lot of opinions. And I just chatted with one of us. I think it's from MRU around it on Facebook to get his view. And a lot of people are for it and a lot of people are against it. So it's this kind of 50-50 split at this stage, in my opinion. Some people think that hitting the button on the MCOM is disruptive and too easy to do. But I think personally that it's a strategy that you've got to play. We all know the more people you spot, the better MCOM actually works. And it's also the only defense mechanism. There's no tanks or anything like that for the defending team. But yeah, interesting view. We did ask for some guys to come and join us. I think the Sunday is a bit difficult.
Yeah,
we can maybe try this again next Saturday and see if we can get some opinions. Get 2 people invited and hear their views. On the Rush game, I think it's fast-paced. It gives the guys to gel better because it's really tactical, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, as you said on the post as well. I mean, originally when we looked at season 2, I mean, it was the easiest thing in the world to just continue, with Conquest from season 1 over into season 2. But we do feel like we try and do a good job. so obviously we took the highway of having a little bit more effort, putting some new rules in place, putting some new scoring mechanisms in place, and doing all of that sort of stuff to be able to give the guys a different game mode, which we thought was going to expand and show a little bit of team depth. And actually I think I saw a comment there by, I'm not sure now, but I think it's SNLV. One of the guys said, yeah, look, they didn't feel they performed that well in Conquest, but they are doing exceptionally well in Rush. And that's sort of what we expected, right? We expected some teams to, be really good Conquest teams, and other teams to excel in a different game mode. Now, as it stands at the moment, again, as I mentioned earlier, not knowing what the new Battlefield title may look like, if there is a season 3 on Battlefield 1, it will most probably be back to Conquest, because we've had a lot of requests around that. A lot of guys have said, that Conquest is a more proving, sort of game mode, because it includes, vehicles on both sides, that sort of thing. But I tend to agree with you. In my opinion, Rush is a very, very good competitive mode. I saw some other comments there as well about the rule set that needs to be correct and that sort of thing. And, maybe just to highlight also there is that the rule set, we building the community and building out, how competitive we are is very much a strategy for us as well. So it's not, I've noticed that if you come in and you make 2,000 rules, it's not, people struggle. They need to get used to playing competitively, used to playing rules, used to doing that sort of thing. So we are fully aware that we are not, ruling everything within the Rush environment. I mean, that is not a question. I think for us, the question was, how do we make the rules that it is competitive but still remains, fun, because not everyone within the competitive environment is on the same competitive level. And unfortunately, that's something that we have to face. It's not something that the community has to worry about, but it is definitely something that we have to take into account when making rules and choosing game modes and that sort of thing, is that we are not just catering for the elite. We are also catering for people who sort of, are mid-range players, and even guys that are, that just get on for the comp fun of it. So, just bear that in mind, guys, is that we are aware of things happening. It's all good.
Yeah, no, for sure. Plus, we also try to make it more infantry based, so less people just sitting and camping, and more people actually playing the Rush mode and getting in there and trying to activate the MCOM and trying to defend it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely for all and not just for the elite at the end of the day. And I think it's not that bad. We can obviously improve, as we've heard some comments. But I think it's 90+% there in the rule set and everything that we are doing.
Absolutely. Then, of course, just want to say welcome to Londu, who has corrected me. It wasn't SNLV, it was CTK that made the comment on Facebook. So you are correct. I did check in the meantime. It was CTK, and when we look at the scores later, you'll see that as well. So definitely, it has provided an option for other teams to come in with a different, I don't want to say a different skill set. I would rather want to say a different game style or a different way of playing. And some of the teams are really excelling in Rush. Yeah, look, I mean, it's a difficult one, right? You will get people that like it and people that don't, and you will get guys that go, look, this is the best thing that has ever been done, and then you will get other guys that will go, if it's not Conquest, I can't play it, right? But I guess that's the nature of the game, and that's the nature of war as well, right? It's there's favorable situations and non-favorable situations. I do think at the moment the majority of people are enjoying Rush. Because it is offering something, something else than call it the norm. I mean, we know that the Conquest game mode is generally the norm. So I think the guys are enjoying it. I must be honest. Yep.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah. So, but also, I mean, initially or originally, the thought was also to challenge all the game types, and to get to a communal score after all game type modes were played, and that's also why we ended up with Rush, because the idea was to play Dom, Conquest, Rush, and Frontlines, and through that you will really see who is then the best of the best.
Yeah.
Because it will challenge everything that the game has to offer, and each time you play something different, you'll have to adapt and modify your gameplay and play better and better as a team. And once you're finished with that, as a team, or in the community, all those teams would have excelled and just gotten better and better and better. So that was also the thinking right in the beginning.
Absolutely. So let's talk about, I mean, while we're talking about game modes and stuff like that, let's talk about incursions a little bit. So, guys, I don't know how many of you, out there have, downloaded Incursions. It's about 21 odd gig big. It works on a completely separate, game client. I'm sure by now, a lot of people have done that and have downloaded the Incursions client and are, messing around on it. And hopefully we can get some opinions on the stream here as well. Slash, I don't know about you, mate, but at the moment I'm playing it, but I don't think it's there 100%. I think there's a couple of bugs in it. I think the idea is good, and whether or not DICE will continue with that sort of thinking into call it into the new Battlefield title, I'm not sure. We'll see what that looks like in terms of having a dedicated client for a different game mode. There is some interesting things on Incursions. I mean, I see a couple of people there. I must be honest, I don't see people in droves, but there are some dedicated Incursion players. I don't know what to make of it yet. I mean, like I said, I get the idea. I like the idea. Whether or not it will be a massive take up around. Perhaps if it's working 100%, right? If the bugs have been sorted and that sort of thing, I think it might be a great competitive mode to have. But I don't know. What's your views?
Yeah, I think the idea is there. I think they've got to build a lot. I mean, to be honest, I installed it, I tried it a bit, and I uninstalled it. So for me, it's nothing in my life anymore. I do follow the little channel that we created on Discord to hear what the guys are saying there, and I think they need to improve a lot. I mean, the first thing that I just feel they should have gotten right from the start is that you can have five-man teams instead of this four-man team that you can run with now. I don't know if that's been sorted out or if it's still the same.
Yeah, I think it's actually been sorted.
Is it? Okay, yeah, because I think if that's in play, then you can also get a better view from the guys playing it. And obviously, this is a beta thing for Battlefield to try and test it, and guys can give their feedback and opinion. I think based on that, then it will grow. I think as a 5v5 game type mode, it could be excellent. It adds other disciplines to the game that you don't get in like domination or these kind of things. So
Yeah.
it will really challenge the guys that's hardcore and like to play these kind of competitive modes.
Absolutely. Look, I must tell you, the one thing that I really enjoy about Incursions, though, is the fact that you, to be honest, the one thing that I enjoy and the one thing that I hate is the same thing, actually. This whole idea around having, not a player, almost having a character. Because I don't know if it makes, well, maybe if I say it that way, it makes sense. I don't know. The point is you choose you choose a character or a player, and he looks different than the other guys, and he's got a specific weapon setup, and he has specific tactical advantage. And if you want a different type of gameplay or a different type of game style, then you have to literally choose a different character, right? So I mean, I enjoy that tremendously because it almost provides individuality when you're playing. You sort of stand out a little bit more on the battlefield. But on the flip side of that, it doesn't allow you a lot of flexibility in terms of, weapons and, changing what you're carrying and, that sort of stuff, right? So, again, the same thing that I love is the same thing that I hate at the moment about Incursions, is that it offers you individuality, but not necessarily that flexibility that you have in the normal game. But, as the guys are saying, I mean, I read a couple of articles that DICE put out on Incursions and some other information that was out in the community. Incursions is not intended to replace Battlefield, right? It's intended to supplement it. And I do think, again, I mean, I've been saying it all along, I do think that the guys have a strategy there. I'm not saying Call of Duty is the right strategy, but they have to also compete, right? They have to compete with, that sort of fast-paced, limited warfare sort of view. So from that perspective, I get it. I understand why they are doing it. And I see some people on the stream here are saying, look, they quite enjoying it. It's awesome for them, and that's good. I mean, like I said, I see some people around. I don't see droves, but hopefully this week, my plan is to play a little bit of Incursions this week. Hopefully I'll see you guys, some of the guys around, yeah? You going to reinstall it, Slash?
I'll probably at some stage. I think what they are trying to do with, let's stick to the character, because I think that describes it the best, is to bring it closer to actual war. Because I mean, when you went out to fight, you were a support gunner, and you had these kind of tools with you, and you had to make do of it. And I think that makes it more realistic, instead of just chopping and changing between a sniper and this, as you spawn out of the game. And I think again, playing as a single entity in the game and improving that skill is what Incursions is about. You need to be the best of who you are, playing with your mates at the end of the day, because they're the only guys who can support you in this.
Yeah, and then obviously, guys, just maybe closing off this topic. If you look at, what DICE are doing, right? I mean, if you look at, let's just talk about timing for a second. I mean, we talked a little bit earlier about when we expect the new Battlefield to be, announced, which is probably going to be around E3. Maybe we'll get a teaser a little bit earlier. But I mean, this is the time of year where we wait for time of 2 years. This is the time of every 2 years that we wait for the announcement of the new Battlefield title. And Incursions, I mean, is just, it was just launched with the previous update. I do think that Incursions is maybe something that they put out there to try and also, beta it, right? To try and see what the uptake is, how people are perceiving it, how it works, also some of the game dynamics and that sort of stuff. And in my view, probably in preparation for something that will be in the new title. I'm not saying that it's going to be in the main game. It might be a different client again, but I think that these guys are testing and they are seeing how it's working. perhaps to build it into the new game title. And I think that is my view on Incursions at the moment. I don't think we should get our hopes up just yet that it's going to be perfectly fixed anywhere in the near future. I think it will be a little bit buggy here and there. There will be some latency issues. There will be this and that and whatever, because I do think it is effectively a beta to test for something, better. That might be in a next game title or that sort of thing. But I mean, that's just my view, right?
Yep. Yeah, but I don't think you're far off.
Yeah, I because it's my view, I'm going to say no. I think I'm pretty spot on. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Excellent. Right, Slash, I don't know if there's anything else that we missed for the last week that we need to, maybe chat about, or something that you saw on Discord or Facebook or anything like that. Before we move on to the scoring, I am watching the time for us as well.
No, I think we there, Jaco, we can move on.
Great. Right, guys, so then let's get to the scoring tables. We'll move on, and I think this morning let's cover the rush games first. So let's go to 12v12. Let me just open that up there for a second. There we go. So guys, you will see that at the moment, obviously it's still the front end of the website is still it still hasn't been updated. If you have joined us in the meantime and you maybe missed that discussion, we have done the back end update of the website, and there's been some permissions given to teams to start moving their own players around and doing some team updates and that sort of thing for their own teams, and hopefully I'm hoping really that by the end of this coming week, all of that back-end updates would have been done, which will then allow us to do the front-end cosmetic update, and that will also have some new additional benefits in terms of viewing games and that sort of stuff on the front. So, but for now, we're still on version 1 of the website, and we are going to go to the Premier League tables, and we're going to have a look at what that looks like at the moment. So we're looking at Division 1 for the 12v12, and I see that everyone there, Slash, has played their 3 games. Obviously, there was that break because of the timing in terms of the off week. So at the moment, we have the top 2 teams there is LGD and MAD. LGD on 11 and MAD on 10. Followed by MRU on 8, Lots on 7, DPS and Red both sharing 5, and then DI and Snaz there on 0 at the moment. Of course, Snaz withdrew out of Season 2, so their games will just be allocated according to play. But yeah, LGD and MAD there at the top. Interesting for me is that there's only 1 point difference at the moment between LGD and MAD. So I mean that's pretty close after 3 games, right? I would have thought that I don't want to say more MCOMs would be taken, but as you guys know, with the scoring system, if you destroy all the MCOMs on both maps, then obviously you get an additional point or additional bonus point, which is what happened there with LGD. Is they actually got a additional bonus point. They got the 8, whereas MAD had the 7. But 1 point difference in there. So MAD and LGD at the moment in the running. MRU not far behind. And then of course Lots, DPS and Red. So Slash, I don't know, any surprises?
Yeah, from my side, I don't know. Maybe there will be a surprise that MAD will hit some more bonus points. I think that's the one factor that will push them up. Inside yet, I don't know. Should I put my head on the block? No, I don't see any surprises. No, I'll just keep quiet this time around in the season. So.
Don't put your head on the block, but just don't. Great. Moving on to Division 2 then. So Division 2 at the moment, SNLV at the top there with 11 points, and that is something interesting for me to see, followed by PF on 8. And then we've got 4Q on 7, First and THC both on 6 points, Raw on 3, WTF on 2, and VTRN on 1. Everybody here, of course, also on 3 games. And I think for me, the big surprise here, there's actually 2, is both SNLV and PF. I mean, we saw them in season 1 playing Conquest, and they, you know, both of them are exceptionally good teams. But definitely did not perform, you know, like this in their division in Conquest. Yet, yeah, in the Rush season, you know, these 2 teams are standing out, right? So SNLV and PF is up there. 4Q not trailing, just a little bit behind, and then of course First and THC at the moment also pushing hard. I don't know, Slash, yeah, SNLV for me a big surprise.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're probably gelling as a team a lot better than in the Conquest mode. But to be honest, I mean, we've only seen these 3-4 games being played, so there's still a lot of games to come.
Yeah.
But yeah, to push ahead and be ahead 3 points at this stage, you know, is a couple of points. I mean, that's the entire game.
Yeah.
So well done to them.
Yeah, let's hope they keep those yellows away. I see they currently have 1 yellow card.
Yeah, well, the yellows we can't do much about. It is what it is. I'm sure we're going to see a couple of extras. I hope we don't see or get to the point where the guys are eating the 3 and 4 yellows to get 3 hits.
Yeah.
Because then they'll start losing points. And that might change the score quite drastically.
Yeah. So let's hope the clowns don't clown around and keep those yellows off, right? So then, guys, just in terms of the yellow cards and the red cards and things, I just want to recap that just for a second. Obviously, you know that the yellow card system is in effect for season 2, and yellow cards are given to, you know, teams that either don't show, you know, good sportsmanship, rocking up late for games, or this or that or whatever. I mean, there's a whole list of why yellow cards can be given. Of course, a yellow card is just a warning. After your 3rd yellow card, you will actually receive a red card, and only on a red card there is point deductions off the league table. So just a little bit of a recap on that. Obviously, in terms of the way you see it on the tables, if you see that little yellow triangle, it means that your team has received a yellow card, and it's also being tracked on the Discord channel. So you know, have a look over there. And then I see some interesting comments on the chat this morning as well. Somebody asked if this is for PC. I know it is for PlayStation 4, so for PS4. We do have a separate Xbox show that goes out on the Xbox channel, and depending on the amount of interest that we receive in Clan Wars, guys, we will actually be doing a PC version as well. We are actually at the moment working on talking to some of the PC players, and you know, understanding how many clans there are available that want to play, and you know, whether we can set it up for this title or perhaps only the next. Again, you know, it's all interest dependent. This is a lot of work to do. It's it's a lot of admin, so there needs to be a significant, you know, a fair amount of interest to be able to do it. But yes, PC definitely in the making. You know, we've sort of future-proofed things on our side. When you go onto the Clan Wars website, which is www.bfclanwars.net, you will see that there's already a little PC button there available. So at the back, you know, we have future-proofed it. It is in the background, but before we can launch it, you know, there's got to be that level of interest. So just to maybe answer that question that was on the stream as well. Right.
Yeah, also, just a question from Michael Ferreira asking, you know, there's only 2 games according to the graph. Just to clarify, because there's 2 backends now, you know, half the score is sitting on the old side and half the score is sitting on the new side. So by next week, it will all be up and running, and all scores will be updated. So you'll see the full view of where we're sitting in the gameplay now.
Correct. Now, obviously, you know, provided that that's actually why we show the games played, guys, is it so everybody can see that at the moment 4Q, for example, is on 7 points but only with 2 games, whereas PF is on 8 points with 3 games. So that will allow that, you know, once that score has been pulled over from the new website, if there's 3 games with, say, for example, a bonus point, then 4Q will move into that second position, for example. So, yes, the table is there. Read it accordingly. There is the guys with 2 games are 4Q and first. So those positions might change by the time we reach next week's show, and hopefully also the front-end website update. Yep. Lekker. So, moving on to Division 3 then. Let's just go there. And this one I always have to try and fit in because there's just too many teams there. There we go. So, yeah, you know what I'm smiling about. This whole monkey see, monkey kill business that Scully betted on. I mean, the guy's my friend and I hate to see him lose a bet. But at the moment, MSNK doing very well. So MSNK, they're at the top on 16 points. Followed by Royal on 15, and this is actually quite impressive. I mean, Royal is a fairly new team in the Battlefield scene. I mean, these guys came off the Call of Duty platform, so they're relatively new. Within Battlefield, they did join us in season 1 for the. Back then, it wasn't T5, it was Division 4. But they joined us in season 1 there and started playing, managed to build up their team a little bit, and at the moment, by the looks of it, doing very, very well. So we have MSNK there on 16, Royal on 15, SBK, which is also a new team, by the way, Straatbrak Coalitie, they are on 11 points. GSE, also a new team, and they are on 8 points. And then we have CTK there on 7, Lots and Raw 2 on 6, and ITF on 5, followed by Rekka and Snot on 4, and Sons of Anarchy on 3. And then the only team in here that has withdrawn is FLCN, which was, I think, Falcon at the time.
Yeah, Falcon.
So I mean, for me, yeah, I mean, this is an upset category. because I mean, we've got MSNK in there, which I mean was all, from a community perspective, and from what I heard from the community, it's always been, MSNK is a very good team. It's a very well-known team. They got put in here into Division 3 because they were new into the league here in season 2. And I mean, they were a favorite to sort of, be a competitive team and be at the top. But after 4 games, their lead is not, it's not that big, right? I mean, you're looking at a 1-point lead at the moment. And then, of course, the fact that they are followed by 3 brand new teams, being Royal, SBK, and GSE, that for me is very interesting, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, the fact that it's all new teams is amazing to be at that. I think everybody knew that MSMK would perform in this season in Division 3. But I must still say well done, because they're winning their games in how can I say, in a complete fashion by taking all aircons.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, which is not easy if you've got a good strategy. But to Royal, I must say, very well done. Coming, from a 5v5 type of game mode into 12v12. Excellent. The SPK guys, I don't really know that well. I have seen some bits and pieces of how they play, and they are a good team. I mean, they've got good guys in their team, coming through the ranks and getting better and better. So it will be interesting to see how it ends up. I honestly don't think it's going to change much as we go through. But hopefully some of the mid-level teams can still switch places and show us what they're made of. There's lots of games still to play here.
Absolutely. And then I think the other team for me that I'm watching closely at the moment is this GSE guys. I mean, they're also a fairly new team, but I'm quite enjoying GSE games as well. So well done to everybody in this division here. But I think at the moment the new teams are really pushing hard and getting their name their name out there. Yeah. Lekker.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Right, so guys, I'm going to just go back here so that we can get to see the T5 tables. So I'm just going to bring that up for you. T5 tables. Now, obviously, you will, as we mentioned previously, and maybe I'll just highlight it again. I mean, the first part of this page shows all the teams, right? And the reason for that is that the way the T5 will work is that there's pool playoffs. So there will be winners out of every pool, and there's 4 pools, and there will be semis and finals for the T5. That is the structure at the moment. And I'm going to go down here and just look at pool 1 first. There we go, that's as best as I can fit it in. So at the moment, yeah, very interesting. And guys, please pay attention specifically on the T5 year with regards to the games played. Because of the way that the T5 is structured, there will, in most cases, be a difference between, not all teams have played the exact same amount of games within a particular week. And that's also because of the odd numbers within the pool. So some guys having an off week and this and that and whatever may be the case. At the moment, though, at the top, Royal with 5 games played on 15 points. And then considering that LGD FaZe has only played 3, the gap is not that big with 9, right? I mean, there's literally 6 points in it. So, say for example LGD plays both their games and wins both their games with 3 points, they will go to 16. So again, guys, please just read the table. The G up there is for games played, then 1 lost, bonus points and full points. Those are the columns. At the moment, Royal on 15 with 5 games, LGD FaZe on 3 games with 9, VTRN on 4 games with 9, DI 3 games with 6 points, UB 4 games with 6 points, DPS Silver 3 games with 4 points, Headhunters 4 games 3 points, BLXM 3 games with 3 points, GSE 4 games with 3 points, and then of course we have the 2 teams that withdrew, which is XM and MDK. Now I think for me at the moment, VTRN stands out a little bit. I mean, I reckon that the 9 points for them after 4 games is a pretty good score. Obviously, they're Royal at the moment. I can't really comment on because they have played their 5 games with that 15 points. Effectively, of course, one of those games were against XM in terms of a withdraw as well. Slash, I don't know what your view is here.
Yeah, I think Royal was the winners of last season, so good on them for being on top and showing that they want to keep that spot. VTRN playing well. Trying to look here, So LGD, I believe they will get up the score there and climb and go up. But I've watched some other games, Headhunters, DPS Silver. Those guys all play a very, very good game, and the scores are actually really close. So this score doesn't reflect how well they actually play in these kind of game modes.
I agree,
because a loss is a loss, yes, but some of these scores are so close. When they do lose, we have to give credit to all these guys stepping up and playing this game mode and really doing well.
Absolutely, and I mean, like you said, it's effectively we sort of heading. I mean, in about a week we will be about halfway into the season. From a pool perspective, at least, there's still a lot of games left, right? So I think there will be some changes in this table, if you ask my opinion. I do think there will be some movement still, but yeah, very good, well done to Royal, who are at the top at the moment, and then I think VTRN for me as well. I wanna watch where they end up in this pool.
Yeah.
Good. Moving on to Pool 2 then for the T5s. So in this pool, obviously 9 teams. Sorry guys, let me just position it properly there. There we go. So here we have DPS Gold on 12 after 4 games, as well as First with their 4 games on 10. We've got the Sultry Swingers, yes, like MSNK, after 3 games here on 9 points. CTK after 3 games on 6, as well as Sons of Anarchy after 4 games on 6. We've got the MRUs there after 5 games on 6 points, THC2 after 3 games on 3 points, and then of course we've got the withdraw team of CMAX, and then we've got Snot there on 4 games with 0 points at the moment. So I mean, DPS, they are at the top at the moment. This is not a new clan. DPS has some good depth, but also they have some very, very skilled individual players. And it's exactly the same for First for me as well. There's individuals within First that are exceptionally good. So if you put sort of 5 of those individuals together, you end up in a scenario where you have a really competitive T5 team, right? And I think also, obviously, MSNK and CTK also doing well at the moment. Sons of Anarchy here standing out a little bit for me on the T5. I mean, I've watched 1 or 2 of their games, from a T5 perspective. I do think, because they are a new team, I think they might, I don't want to say struggle, but I think they're still finding their feet, within the 12v12 environment, whereas in the T5, they play really, really well. Again, I think your earlier comment is very valid. The scores sometimes are so close that, the loss doesn't really reflect how well the team played, right? So, couple of interesting things happening here. But yeah, at the moment, DPS and First there on top of the table with 12 and 10 individually. And then, of course, we've still got those games that need to be played by MSNK and CTK that are on 9 and 6, but only with 3 games. So let's see how that changes the table, right?
Yeah. For me, CTK is standing out. I think this is a game mode that favors them, the smaller teams, and putting all the big players in a team. Well done to them.
Excellent. Moving on to Pool 3 then. So we've got MSNK, the Banana Bays. They're on 5 games. Of course, they are on 5 games because of the game that they would have played against Snaz. I think last week, it was. But they're on 13 points at the moment. And then we've got LGD Acid there on 12 points. But interestingly, they've only played 4 games yet. So definitely there's an opportunity there to swap those 2 positions around for me, MSNK and LGD. Then we've got Lots there, again an opportunity for a swap, because they are only on 3 games, but already with 9 points. And then we've got Phoenix with 4 games, 9 points, Mayhem 4 games, 8 points, Rekka 4 games, 6 points, THC 1 3 games and 1 point, and then the other teams are all on 0 at the moment. So in this pool, I definitely think there's going to be some swap arounds, by next week, depending on how the games get played out. But definitely some room to still move on the scores here.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, I look forward to see where Lots is going to end up this season in this kind of game mode. I think they've got some good players in there, and they can really move up and be in the top crowd there.
Yep, absolutely. And then going down to the last pool, which is Pool 4 for the T5. And here we've got the Mad Boykies, Destruction, and MRU at the top. Both played 4 games there with 12 points. Then we have Red and GSE. Again, both played 4 games. Red with 9, GSE with 6, as well as Lots with 6 and their 4 games. And then we have WTF, also 4 games and 6 points. Then the guys who have played 3 games is ITF, 4Q, SNLV and Snot 2. Individually, they are ITF on 3, 4Q on 1, as well as SNLV, and then Snot 2 on 0 at the moment. So I mean,
Yeah.
this table for me, I mean, this is close. This is close. There's I don't know if there's going to be a lot of movement here. There's the ITF guys, 4Q, SNLV. Those are the guys that haven't played their fourth game as yet. But looking at the scores, I think probably the top 6 positions at the moment, Destruction down to WTF, are the guys that have the potential to, still sort of swap out. Well, actually, if you include ITF, they're on 3 at the moment. If they played a 4th game and won that, they will be on 6 as well. So actually, maybe position 1 to 7 is where the movement at the moment looks like it will be. Destruction, MRU, both on 12. But I think the team for me here to watch is Red, right? These Red guys have a tendency to pick up speed towards the end of the season. I mean, I saw it in season 1, their first couple of games, also, here and there, and as they gained momentum and strategy, they started playing really, really hard. And as I said earlier, the other team for me is also GSE. But then, of course, you have lots in the mix there with WTF, which can always, sort of create surprises, right?
Yeah. The one question I have to throw out, and it's not to pick on anybody, but it's to the clowns, SNLV. What is happening, boys? So, but just to show again how different these game modes are. I mean, you can come in and play very well in the Premier League, and in the T5s, it's completely different. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So there we go, guys. That's what we had from a points perspective this morning. Again, if you have joined us this morning to watch, thank you very much for watching. If you are subscribed, that's great. If you are not, please hit the subscribe button. Also hit the little bell to get the notifications whenever we go online. It does help us to promote, what we're trying to do for the community, and also the Clan Wars series in which everybody is competing. If you want to find more information, you can do so on the website, which is www.bfclanwars.net. Hopefully by the end of this week or early next week, that website upgrade will be complete. As I said in the beginning of the show, the backend update has now already been done, and the functionality is there for the clan leaders or for the people that actually have rights to update the site, to do a couple of things on the website, for example, add and remove players or change player roles and that sort of thing. And we are in a transfer window at the moment, and that transfer window will most probably last until Thursday this coming week. So if there is something that needs to be updated, please make sure that it does get updated. The reason why we will close the transfer window, well, there's 2 reasons why. One is that we will obviously close the transfer window because we will not allow players to swap teams and that sort of thing. The other thing is we actually do need to close the transfer window to be able to do this website front end update. So those things need to be in, so that we can pull them over onto the new site with some new cosmetics and that sort of thing. So also have a look out for that. Slash, final words.
Yeah, I think I really look forward to have everybody see the new site, and I think it really looks slick, and all the new functionalities that everybody can use. And then to all the teams out there, good luck in your games, and thanks for the support.
Excellent. Guys, from my side, that's what we had for this week. Again, if you are subscribed, that's great. If you're not, please hit the subscribe button. We are looking forward to this week, and as I mentioned much earlier in the show, hopefully next week we will be back to our Saturday slot. I don't think there's a couple of public holidays coming up for a while, and obviously we hope also that some of the update issues and that sort of stuff will be sorted out. From my side, that's what we had for this morning. I'm Yakusal for Battle Bros. See you on the battlefield.